on, that's good. There. Come on, hit. Go on. Go on.
Just a minute or two.
What?
Seems an awful daft place to put it.
It's cheaper for him over there, I reckon. There's one failing about Christmas, Evans. He do hate spending money.
He'll have to stop tipping there soon, won't he? If it carries on growing, he'll come down on top of the houses.
But he's got to do a fine art, see? By the time it starts sliding, he'll be 6 foot under anyway. Posh bit of marble. Public benefactor. And nobody's going to bother to rub it off and carve in bloody fool, are they?
No.
Right then?
Right.
Come on.
Your sandwiches are on the dresser, if you're mad enough to be going back to that bedlam again this week. Here's your breakfast, if you want it. You only got a quarter of an hour to get it into you now, so don't blame me if you're sick.
His nice bacon smells after a run like that.
Well, the boy's got plenty of guts, Quill. And there's nothing wrong with his wind. Just harden his legs up a bit and leave the rest to me.
I die. How long before I'll be ready to fight?
What, today, man?
But I haven't learnt much yet, have I?
Oh, there's no odds to that, man. You fight today. You fight all the time. See, never let anybody come at you without you giving one back. It's just like swimming, see? The only way to learn how to do it is by doing it. Then you come to me, tell me what they done to you, and I'll show you how to stop it. There you are, the shift.
How come we to die? Dorabeth!
Huh? It's the same one. It's as good as new, we're in here. You even got the ink off the inside.
Easy enough. Bit of sandpaper.
Easy enough, he says. Been fiddling with it all the week. Come home off nights and straight out the back with him to put in time on it while you were out of the way. Look at them tiny little bits. They're fitted back in and smoothed off.
Thank you ever so much. It's really done beautiful.
Why were Malcolm's men carrying trees to Dunsinane? Phillips?
To fulfill the witch's prophecy, sir.
They hadn't even heard about the witch's prophecy. Anybody else? Nobody? You, Morgan, stand up. To the best of my knowledge and belief, you haven't volunteered a single answer to any question the entire time you've been sitting there.
No, sir.
I can only think of two explanations. One possibility is that the headmaster was grossly deceived in his estimate of your intelligence, and you are, in fact, more than averagely stupid. Or else you've decided that any pearls of wisdom you may have to cast are too precious to be wasted on us. Which is it, Morgan?
I don't know, sir.
Come here. Were you also fast asleep, as the rest of the class seems to have been when we were reading Act 5, Scene 4?
No, sir.
Good. So you will be in a position to inform us why Malcolm's men were carrying trees to Dunsinane.
Yes, sir.
Why then?
Because they wanted Macbeth to be mizzled about how many of them there were.
They wanted Macbeth to be what?
Mizzled.
Mizzled? What sort of language is that supposed to be? Some of your mountain jargon?
It's English.
Oh, I beg your pardon. So it's English, is it? You'll have to enlighten me then. I thought I had acquired a moderately wide vocabulary in the course of studying for an English honours degree, but I'm afraid this word is far too esoteric for me. How do you spell it?
M-I-S-L-E-D.
So that is mizzled in it? Oh, indeed, my goodness, look you. And here is me in my ignorance, always pronouncing it misled. Say it, Morgan.
Misled, sir.
I should think so, too. If Mr. Motzel were to spend some time actually in the classroom with you and hear the way you mangle the English language, he might modify his opinion of your intellectual attainments.
Very sorry if I mangle it, because it's a beautiful language. But I don't think it's stupid to have read more words in it than I've ever heard pronounced.
Class dismissed.
Mizzled, 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 mizzled.
I'll fight you after school at the back of Spackman the Troopers.
Right, you. But I laughed murder, you mind? I never mind Spackman. What about now, then?
You know what Mr. Motzel said? No fighting in the yard.
Oh, are you trying to get out of it now?
No, I'm not. Just we're not supposed to, are we?
Yeah, hark at him. You want to fight? Come on, then.
Right then. Now you.
I might have done. Back inside, Morgan. Wait by my desk until after break. I should, of course, report you to Mr. Motzel. However, I think this is a matter that had much better be dealt with here and now. You've all been warned time and time again about fighting on the school premises. But warnings are obviously not enough to get the message home to you. The time has come to make an example, to convince you that I mean what I say. As for you, Morgan, I have set myself a task of civilizing you. And when I put my hand to the plow, I am not easily turned back. I had to begin last week by introducing you to the concept of cleanliness. This morning, I hope to impress upon you the fact that in normal human communities, we no longer settle our differences by hurling ourselves on one another as if we were a bunch of black savages. Take off your jacket. Mervyn Phillips, come here. Make a back. You, bend over him.
See what that is, Angharad. Here's the milkman. The money's on the dresser.
Mum, it's Justin Evans.
Justin Evans?
That's right.
What? Don't keep him waiting on the doorstep, girl. Ask him in.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Evans. It is nice to see you. I had heard that you were back staying with your dad for a bit.
Yes.
Is there anything I can do for you?
I rather hoped you might be able to throw some light on that bit of a fracas last week.
Bit of a what?
The incident outside Calvaria after the choir practice. I suppose you heard about it.
No. What happened?
Really, I imagined it would be all over the town by this time.
Well, I don't know about that. I've got my work cut out without standing around listening to gossip. Angharad, shift that, will you? Put the kettle on. Perhaps Mr. Evans would like a cup of tea.
No, thanks. I don't take between meals.
Well, would you like to sit down?
Thank you. What happened was that your son, without any provocation whatsoever, knocked me down on the public footpath.
My son? Which one?
Yanto.
Yeah.
Oh. You knew all about this then, did you?
Yes, of course. Angharad was there at the time.
Angharad? Oh, I see. It wasn't about the union, then?
I've no idea what it was about. He seemed very angry about something or another, but he was quite incoherent. I couldn't understand a word he said. I may say that my first instinct was to have him charged with assault. There were plenty of witnesses.
I don't think that would be a very good idea. People around here don't think much of that for an idea.
No. So I've noticed they prefer taking the law into their own hands. However, I didn't feel like getting involved in a public brawl with one of our own employees.
Well, no, of course you didn't. And besides, Yanto's bigger than you are.
I merely stopped to have a few words with Angharad and he went berserk. Now, I've come for some kind of assurance that the same sort of thing is not liable to happen again.
Ah, well, now you see, if you had come and had a word with her father first, it would have been all right.
Ah, yes.
Well, don't worry, Mr. Evans. Gwilym won't hit you.
I was thinking more about the possible implications. Having a word with her father. Well, good heavens, I mean, last thing we want is to get even deeper into misunderstanding one another.
He's wondering what he'd be letting himself in for, Mum.
Oh, you don't need to worry about that either. Just talking to her, that's what you mean. Isn't it?
But yes, that sort of thing. Yes.
Hello? Aren't you having your sandwiches then?
No.
Aren't you hungry?
No.
Did you have carpet?
What do you mean?
Well, some of the boys were betting you had something under your shirt, and that's why you never shouted out.
You look if I had carpet.
Hurt him?
I'm on like fire.
Sometimes it pays to yell. If you shout loud enough, he'll stop quicker.
That was just what he wanted, but I wasn't going to let him have it.
Well, I'm sorry you cocked it so bad. It wasn't all my fault, though.
I never said it was.
You had it in for you anyway, apart from the fight, because of this morning.
What did I do?
You answered him back. He loves being sarky to people, but they're not supposed to be sarky back. You sure I can't get you anything?
Unless you could fetch a drink of water.
All right. I'll send one of the little ones in with you.
Thank you.
Murdering you want. You're not fit to be let loose, not fit to be alive. A man who couldn't do a thing like that to a child. You want somebody to go around there and hammer him flat.
Hey, what was it for?
I was fighting.
Did you win?
I might have.
Good. Was there any match, boy?
Not so much now.
Hey, 5 shillings in the box for you tonight.
Did you hear that? Have you gone clean off your head or what? I mean, that's what started it, isn't it? Giving him pennies and threepences to go and get himself knocked about. I mean, what next, I wonder? When you promise him gold sovereigns in his coffee and he'll go and get himself killed?
Whoever the man is, he must have lost all control of himself to do a thing like this.
No, he wouldn't have known it was like this, only Owen was awake and he saw him trying to get his shirt off. It was all stuck to him, but his poor little back had been bleeding.
How did he get home?
I waited for Ellis the post.
Brought him back in the trap.
An hour late, long way round, me counting the minutes what had happened to him.
Listen, lovely, I've got some brassic at home. Before you go to bed, I'll smooth it on so gently you won't even feel it. That'll cool it down, all right?
Thanks, Bron.
Eva, you call in a dive bandos and tell him that he won't be there in the morning, all right?
And tell him if he's thinking of any more fighting lessons for any child of mine to keep himself well out of my way before I will swing for him.
He'll be all right after a bit, Mum. Once he learns to handle himself.
Ah, get him. The one above all of them I would have expected to see sense. So what can you do with them, Bron? What can you do with any of them?
I won't be long.
Owen, you'll be late.
Right. Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Well, look at this thing. Not a bite has passed his lips all day. And I'd get him a bowl of that cowl. Come on, shift you, my lady. And listen. Next time you start crying about how the men always get the best of it, just you think about that. And remember the things they get the worst of.
Hey, what's all this about now?
Oh, some fit got into her this morning. Got fed up turning the mango for me. Why couldn't she have stayed on in school, she said. She had as much brains as any of them.
So I have.
Not just Hugh.
I did, though, to start with. Only when Hugh was reading books and the other boys were playing, I was always washing dishes or something. Sometimes I wish it was me that went up the mountain with you that day.
Oh, you do, Hugh? I suppose you'd like to come back with black eyes and bleeding like this one by here.
I would easily put up with a few black eyes if in the end I could get out of this place like he will.
Come in.
I don't want to be here with my shirt off as visitors.
Get on the sofa then, like you used to.
Who's
I'll
that
cover
now?
you. Poor old Hugh. Always in the wars.
William,
Yes.
it's Mr. Yestin Evans to see you.
Oh, is there something wrong with the pit? Did your father send you?
No, it's nothing like that. No, Mr. Evans was talking to Angharad the other day, and Yanto told him if he was passing by to drop in and have a word with you.
All right. Well, how did you come to meet her then, Mr. Evans?
He gave me a ride on his horse, Dad.
Well, it's very nice of him indeed.
Would you sit down, Mr. Evans?
And I turned round, and there was Angharad, so I said, "This is my sister."
Angharad, leave that now, I'll do it. You go and sit over by there.
You've finished at Oxford, have you, Mr. Evans?
Yes, that's right. Came down in July. Good evening, Angharad.
Good evening.
Hope you didn't object to my calling.
Why should I?
No reason, I hope, but you seem very quiet.
I'm trying to get used to the feeling of being told to sit and do nothing. I thought it would take at least a fall down the mountain for that to happen. No, I don't object to you calling.
You mean I am marginally preferable to a fall down the mountain?
Oh, yes, I think so. Don't you think so, Hugh?
And my mother made this bowl of starch, see, and it was there by the sink. And Dad thought it was just warm, soapy water, so he has a quick wash like this. And after a minute or two, he came and sat down for his supper. And after a minute or two, he started making faces. Laugh, I thought we would have been sick laughing.
You're feeling very happy tonight.
Aye. I've been thinking about those times. It used to be all right when I was a little girl, see. Dad was all right then. He'd give me anything. One night he came home with all glowworms in his cap like diamonds. He'd found them on the mountain and brought them home for me. Only when I started growing up, he turned funny. He locked me in a couple of times. He would have liked to have locked me in for keeps.
What you been drinking, eh?
Nothing.
Yes, you have. I can smell it.
Well, you've been having beer?
Oh, aye. A pint, like. I'm not complaining, mind. Let's go to bed then, shall we?
I don't mind.
Well, up you get then. Oh, matches I'm looking for.
In the drawer in the back there.
Oh, yeah. You still kept this then?
What?
That love spoon that Owen made you.
I found it in the back of the drawer. I'm going to burn it.
Oh, it's a pity to do that. There's some lovely work on it. We could give it back. Might come in handy one day when you find somebody you'll stick with.
Yanto, why don't we go to Canada?
Good God, why Canada?
I don't know. So that we'd be together.
Now, what you talking about, girl? We're together now.
Oh, no, we're not. It's all those men you're together with, not me. Morning, noon and night, they're all you think about.
But that's my work, Margaret.
But you never knock off, do you?
No. Well, the union's my work and all. I mean, you keep going on as if I'm out there enjoying myself, but you know damn well that sometimes I get home here ready to drop.
You do enjoy it all the same. You love every minute of it.
Margaret, it's important.
Yes, I suppose it is. Aren't you lucky?
Well, I go to my death.
What's this bloke's name, Achan?
Mr. Jonas.
You live above the school, I expect, is it?
2 streets higher up.
Why, Martha?
What?
We was going to go over there, weren't we?
Well, there's going to be the match on Thursday.
Couldn't hop over a bit sooner, like, could we? Good idea. To fix up about the match, innit?
That's right.
Would you be in the evenings, this Mr.
Jonas.
Mr. Jonas? If we was to pay him a social call, like?
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe we didn't ought to go to work tomorrow.
Aye. Could always miss a turn, couldn't we? Dress up tidy. Do the job proper.
Best breeches, bowler, bloody hat.
Schwellen.
Afternoon, all.
I ordered you to leave the school premises.
Maniac! Mr. Jamison, all right. Do you know this man? Oh, why on earth should he come here and attack you in this... You look very shaken here. You better sit down. How dare you come bursting into my school and attack a master in front of his class? Two of you onto one defenseless man. Great hulking bullies. The most cowardly thing I've ever heard of. My God. If I were 10 years younger, the most outrageous thing to do. Who are you, anyway? Whatever possessed you to behave in this fashion?
Well, he come busting in here, we didn't. We only followed him. We asked him to come outside and we come out.
Oh, aye, yeah.
Of course, if he wants to do anything about it, it's up to him. I don't think he will, though, somehow. Well, good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Round down, Blunt.
Round down.
Only, to hell with him with that.
Silence! Mr. Jonas, I think you'd better be relieved for the rest of the afternoon. Mr. Tizer can take over from you here.
No. I should prefer to continue.
As you please, of course.
Where's the front boy? Turn to page 38. Look at exercise 2. You will copy out the first 6 sentences, and for your homework tonight, you will rewrite them, changing all the verbs into the imperfect tense.
Now then. What did he say?
Nothing. All the rest of the afternoon, he kept looking right through me as if I wasn't there.
That's all very well. Are you going to learn anything like that?
I know, but listen, Dad. Playtime in the afternoon, he was in with Mr. Motchel for an awful long time. Been in the classroom waiting and waiting. And then guess what? Mr. Tizer came in. Mr. Motchel's changed him round, so we can have Mr. Tizer all the time now.
Oh, that's good. Have you told your mum about this? What did she say?
Praise the Lord is what I said. And don't anybody try and tell me he doesn't listen to prayers.
Tipping down. And it was lovely this morning.
No.
Oh, come on in, Di. No, come you in, man.
Turn cold.
Well, don't stand there dripping like that. Take a seat.
Over there, is it?
Right there.
Work up, it's Friday morning, all right?
Never expect you on a night like this.
No, I got a bit there, man. Got a report to make. Got to have these tickets from the printers too, because the meeting's on Wednesday, see?
If it'll be on Wednesday, how are you going to get down to Ponty by 7 o'clock?
Ah, well, I thought, see, if you could wrap my suit in a parcel in the morning, I could leave it with Jack in the lamp room, then I can bath and change at our mam's and go straight down from there.
You mean you won't be home at all?
No, I mean, I'll go straight home and I'll bath down... No, you mean here. No, that's right. I won't come home here. It'll be quicker that time. Just that one time.
That first time.
Well, how do you mean?
You're not saying you won't be holding meetings in Ponty ever again after this?
Well, it stands to reason. I mean, if there's a good turn-up, we'll do it again, won't
And
we?
if your mam's house is quicker for one time, it'll be quicker all the other times. Come to that, even if it's only for a committee, it would be quicker, and that's every week. Oh, you could just call in here on Sunday afternoons. You could save tons of time that way.
Now, Margaret! Now, fair play, Carriad. You knew what I was like.
I ought to have, yes.
Same as I know things and all. But I don't crepe, do I?
No.
Now, look. We're electing a new subject next month. See, Ellis Back is resigning. If I can get somebody who's keen, he'll take a lot of the work off me. All right? I'll try not to be too late. But if I am, don't wait up.
No, I won't wait up.
Good night, then.
Good night.
Well, we've got to get them in the lodge. We want to get everybody in.
Well, I don't reckon they'll be getting much benefit.
That's not the point. It's the principle of the thing. Now then, who's on the 9-foot seam altogether now?
Yori Thomas, Di Fopelt, Mansell Pugh, Johnny James.
Yes, he's the one. If I can only get him, the rest will fall in. Now, where does he live?
Oh, down the pant. You're not going down there now, are you? You can see him underground tomorrow.
No, it's not the same. If I can take you for a drink, see, I can put it to him proper.
It's up to you. It's Canal Terrace.
We've got to be solid, see, Jack. Nobody left outside. Nobody out on their own.
To this end Christ died and rose again, that he might be Lord of both the dead and the living. Forasmuch as the soul of this our sister has departed this life, we therefore commit her body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
wanted to get somebody from outside to take the tenor solo. But I said I don't think there's anybody better than John Elwyn when he's on form.
No. Poor old Gomez had to chuck it in altogether now. He's very bad with the dust, you know.
I'll put him up a plate of dinner and you can take it in to him.
Aye, all right.
Hugh?
But I always get it right in the end. Trial and error. Aye, but if you know it's going to be too hard on the edge, you know what size you're going to need, see? I know that anyway. I do it with a piece of wire.
I thought you were never coming.
How was I to know you were here? Church you are, not chapel?
I want to talk to you.
Oh, there's nothing stopping you.
I don't mean like that. Well, can't we meet somewhere tomorrow? I haven't seen you properly in 3 days.
3 days? Good heavens. Last summer when you went to Rome, you didn't see me for 3 weeks, but you still didn't die of it.
I'm Harrod.
Well, I might go for a walk tomorrow if it's a fine evening. If I do go, it'll be up Pant Lane, near the White Rock.
That's better. What time?
7:30. And now, may I pass, please? Thank you.
Oh, yes, that's plenty big enough for me.
I should hope so indeed. It was big enough for the Reverend Walter Williams and his wife and daughter.
It'll take some furnishing.
Oh, no doubt members of the congregation would donate items if I dropped them a hint.
Rather got used to it where I am.
No, it's not at all satisfactory. By rights, you should have been here in the chapel house all along. Mrs. Williams should have been asked to leave 3 years ago when her husband died.
That would be a little harsh when she had nowhere else to go.
Yes, well, you made your feelings very plain, Mr. Griffith. Now, there is one other matter which has been discussed among the deacons on an unofficial basis, and that is who will be looking after you?
Oh, I thought we were going to ask Mrs. Parry to pop in once a week when she cleans the chapel.
No, that is not good enough. It would be better in a good many ways if you would get married, Mr. Griffith. A single minister is unsettling for the female members of the congregation, and besides, there are many jobs we count on having done by the minister's wife, and these services we are being deprived of.
Wilt thou take this woman to be thine unpaid assistant? To preside over the mothers' meeting, to organise the Sunday school outings, to keep the peace amongst the tea ladies, and provide free board and lodging for visiting ministers? I'm sorry, Mr. Elias. If that was a condition of my appointment, I should have been told earlier.
Not condition. Now, don't put words in my mouth, Mr. Griffith. But I am allowed to say what would be for the good of the chapel. And you can't deny that a good, steady, sensible woman by your side will be a tower of strength and an end to gossip, and calm down the feelings of the younger and flightier ones. So what shall I say is your answer?
That I have listened to your point of view, and I freely acknowledge your right to express it.
And you will consider acting on it?
No.
I hope you're not judging the strength of your support by the size of your congregations. There's many a turning back to God just because they don't know anywhere else to turn, and regardless of who the preacher is.
Let us be thankful they do turn to him.
Can I come in?
Oh, Angharad, yes, come in.
And may I ask what Miss Angharad Morgan is doing here?
I came to speak to Mr. Griffith.
What is it, Angharad?
It'll wait until Mr. Elias is finished.
Oh, please carry on. I have said what I was going to say.
I mean, it'll wait until Mr. Elias has gone.
And what have you to talk to him about that cannot be said in front of one of his own deacons?
I want to consult him about my spiritual welfare.
Yes. Well, there are those who say it is time you consulted somebody about it.
Well, I'm doing it, so you can give them the glad news. It is small, but it's big enough.
I'm sure it can be made very pleasant.
The little back bedroom for my sewing room, and I will let you have the one across there for your study.
Harrod, it is useless to talk like that.
Why?
Well, there's Yestin Evans, for one thing.
I don't belong to Yestin Evans.
But he must be very fond of you. Otherwise, he wouldn't put up with the way you treat him.
It's much like the way he treats me.
With someone like that, you could have comfort and security for the rest of your life. That's no more than you deserve. I'm sure your mother would like it.
Well, his father wouldn't.
Oh, you'll come round once you're actually married.
He might, but I don't think Yestin would risk it.
What's in his mind, then?
Perhaps he thinks that if he waits long enough, the old man will die. Then he can have me and the money. So tell me, as my pastor, would it be good for my spiritual welfare to spend the next 10 or 20 years trying not to hope for Christmas Evans to hurry into his grave?
Why do you keep seeing him, then? Why do you let people talk?
They'll always find something to talk about. Why do I see him? I don't know. Sometimes the days are very long and very dull, and it's something to do. If you don't like it, you could put a stop to it tomorrow. Perhaps that's why I started doing it, hoping that you would. Won't you give it your blessing instead?
Well, how can I justify going against it?
Easy enough, because you know he's not the one I want. You are the one I want.
Harrod, you are shameless.
Good. But only to shame the devil with the truth.
Don't you see, it's impossible. You don't seem to realise that I'm in my 40s.
Yes, I know, since June. Then you were still in your 30s. The next summer I will be in my 20s.
Do you know how much the members pay me?
Rough idea.
£25 a year.
Well, but there are compensations.
Oh, yes, like the Tide Cottage. And there are gifts in kind very often, too. A couple of trout, a dozen eggs, raspberries from somebody's garden.
Nice.
Yes, and they're freely given, and I'm very grateful for them. I was given this coat, you know. Very expensive, very privately, very tactfully. Only been worn 3 times by Mr. Davis, butcher, before he died. And very likely you'd be offered gifts too, just as tactfully by, say, Mrs. Edlis Price, Mrs. Reese Pinkhouse, and advised to alter them to fit so that hardly anyone would notice who had worn them before. You see? And on top of that, you'll be asked to give what Elias calls services, which are far from negligible, as you know.
You think I'd be no good at it?
I think it calls for a certain humility.
You think I couldn't learn?
Oh, may God forgive me. I don't think I could bear to watch you having to learn or having to learn through any act of mine.
Why couldn't you bear it? You can afford to answer that, surely. It would be little enough consolation for me to take out of this room.
Because I think too highly of you.
You have other volunteers, you know. They'll be queuing up to move in here. Good, sober spinsters with the right date on their birth certificate. Widows who can keep accounts and make wonderful pastry. I wonder which one you will choose.
None of them! You can take that out of this room with you for what it's worth, because it is a certainty.
I now call upon Ianto to give a report on why the South Wales Executive recommend a rejection of the owner's ultimatum.
Now, to my mind, we have got no choice. It is now 5.5 months since we gave 6 months' notice, as we were fully entitled to do, to end the sliding scale this April, instead of renewing it for a further period, and to put in for a 10% advance on the basic rate, which has been going down steadily, as you all know. Now, instead of accepting this, the owners have given notice of a lockout to start on the 1st of next month, unless we climb down. The other part of the ultimatum is that they won't even meet us for talks unless we drop the system of balloting by the men and appoint a small group of representatives instead who will have the full power to say yes or no to anything that they propose. Yes, I have no need to point out to you that whenever that system has been employed, it gives the risk of bribery and corruption. Now, our executive recommends that we do not climb down, that we do not give up the right to hold ballots, and that we do not return to the sliding scale. Sooner or later, we will have to make a stand. And I think the time is now.
How long do you think this will go for?
Well, I'm not going to try and say it'll be easy. They wouldn't be shutting the pits down if they didn't think they could hold out longer than us.
You know Mabon is still for the sliding scale, am I quiet like?
And if he was working down the pits, he would soon change his tune. Now, you tell me something. How much are you taking home now compared to 5 years ago?
Well, damn sight less, same as anybody else.
You working any less hard for it?
Am I hell?
And you're working on the 6-foot seam, Boyle. That's nearly worked out. You wait till you get on the 4-foot. There's 4 times the dirt in that, and the roof's a bugger because there's workings over the top pressing down on it. And yet Evans is cutting back on the pinning just to save money.
Oh, it's bad. Very bad.
Yes. And now let me tell you something about my own brother Ivor. Now, he's got Hopkin Pew's boy as his buddy on the 4-foot. At the end of last fortnight, after both of them working their flaming guts out for 2 whole weeks, they hadn't earned enough between the 2 of them to pay the boy. He didn't only make nothing out of it, he had to go home to get money from the house to pay the butty. So how much lower do we have to sink?
True enough. Someone's going to have to change.
In England, you see, Glyn, miners are paid for repairs on the Stall Road, separate rate.
Get away.
Of course they do. They always have done. And they get paid for small coal.
I would like to move a resolution that this committee recommends members to vote no to the coal owners' ultimatum.
Anyone like to second that?
Aye.
Those in favour?
That is it then, is it? That is what they call strike pay. 1 and 10 pence a week each. 3 and 8 pence to keep a family of 6 for a week.
If we was all in the union, it would be 5 and 6.
Aye, and if none of us were in the union, we'd all be back at work and a proper wage coming in.
So long as we go on crawling, we will sweat out our lives down that black hole and still go hungry. And have nothing to show for it, not even our self-respect.
I don't know how much self-respect we will have when the clothes drop off our backs.
There's plenty going off worse than us.
Aye, only because my word is good with the shopkeepers. They know I will get straight with them if it takes me a year, and if this goes on much longer, it will. I mean, what is the good of this? It was 8 shillings in the beginning.
Ma'am, it's coming from England, from the Miners' Federation of Great Britain. I mean, they've paid out and they've paid out, but they're not made of money. Nobody thought it would go on for 5 months.
I've never seen any good come out of England yet.
Oh, what's the English got to do with it? I don't care if they're bloody Zulus. They're miners, Dad. They're miners the same as you and me. Only difference is that they're starting to get up on their knees. And they're trying to give us a hand so that we can do the same.
Can we have a bit of peace from all of this, please? Even if it's only by the table.
By the table? You honestly think we're going to put our feet under that and sit looking round at each other while we can eat a couple of pieces of dry bread?
Are we supposed to get food out of the air? You still get 1 hot meal a day, even if it's only this broth. You want to go down on your knees, boy?
Aye, down on his knees. Begging for forgiveness. There's only one getting any good out of this strike. And that's Malvin Jones, the undertaker. Oh, your generation will come through, no doubt. And most of mine. It's the old ones who are dying, man. The old ones. And the little children.
I mean, what are we supposed to do, Ianto, if there's nothing here?
Mum, I am not hitting at you.
It isn't Harad ever done to you either.
To me, nothing. I used to have some respect for her until I saw her last night walking down Pant Lane with Yeston Evans. Meek as milk she was, after all his father is doing to this valley. If she had an ounce of loyalty, she would be spitting in his face.
As God is my judge, I don't know where this is going to end.
Well, look who it is, my favourite scholar. Come and sit down, my lovely. How's things?
Oh, Bron, terrible.
Hungry, is it, boyo?
No, it's not that so much, only don't keep yelling at each other.
I know, a lot of people like that. Their nerves all on edge, that's what it is.
Nobody shouts in this house, though.
Oh. You ought to have been here half an hour ago, didn't you, Bron?
Aye, old Gareth it was, screaming his head off, just because he thought the boys next door had gone paddling without waiting for him.
Oh, where's your nice curtains gone?
They're up in Mrs. Elias's bedroom window. And food from Mr. Elias's shop is in my pantry.
Going back to barter now.
Aye, well, it can't go on much longer whichever way it goes.
If we stick it out another week or two, we might even win.
Then we'll be back down the pits with you, poor old boy. No more afternoon practices for you. Do you know, since they've had nothing better to do these last few months, they have been drilling the life out of that choir. Look at him now. Butter wouldn't melt. But they've had more bullying from him than they would have had from Christmas Evans and Yanto all rolled in one.
All right, then. If that is the feeling of this meeting, we will take a vote. I would just briefly, like to make 2 points, Mr. Chairman. Now, first, if we vote to recommend going back now, it has all been for nothing. For worse than nothing. We will be going back for less money than we came out on. Now, second, we in South Wales will be ratting on the MFGB after all the support they have given us. They've got this fight coming up for the 8-hour day. They will need everybody's backing. But we will have sold ourselves back onto the sliding scale for the next 3 years. We won't be able to lift a finger. We will be a dead weight holding back the entire movement. Now, I don't know whether you can vote yes to that and still hold your heads up. But I know I can't.
All those in favour of recommending acceptance of the terms offered? Those against?
Why London? What's in London?
That's what I'm going to find out, isn't it?
Oh. You off then, is it?
That's right.
Heard the news?
No, what?
Old Evans, Christmas Evans, kicked the bucket last night, stroke.
I expect he drank too much champagne in a celebration dinner.
Aye, very likely. Well, I expect you'll be dropping your mama a line now and then. How are you getting on, eh?
Oh, yes.
Well, so long then.
So long, Kip Arthur.
Got hankies?
No, they're upstairs in the drawer. Thank you. Oh, where did this lot come from?
They're mine. Good room for them.
You want to come?
Well, there's nothing much around here, is there?
Hey, Owen.
Aye?
About Margaret, see.
Never mind.
To take care of her. That was the main thing. The way I saw it. And for her too, and all I know. You know what I mean?
Aye.
Only I made a mess of it.
Both of us did. Anyway, it's a long time ago.
You really want to come?
Well, it'll be better the two of us together.
Oh, it'll make all the difference in the world. You know something, boyo? This is the first good thing that's happened to me this year.
Yeah? Here you are.
Oh. That?
Did you know Owen was going to?
Yes, girl, I knew.
What do they say?
Well, they're working in a tunnel.
Good gracious alive. Well, they could have stayed here and done that.
Well, what tunnel?
For an underground railway in London. And he says he's put... Where's the envelope?
There it is.
He says he's put in a piece from the Times newspaper.
Aye, here it is.
Oh, what's it say?
There's a piece here. He's put a line around. Evans Morgan. A marriage has been arranged between Iestyn Dillon Evans, son of the late Mr. and Mrs. Christmas Dillon Evans, of Tinny Coed, and Let me see.